What's up, everybody? This is Rob Sheck. So today we're going to continue along in my not max speed test, but it's like the 400-meter dash thing. We're going to start with the Loctite Zexel GTR Skyline R34. Hope I might have to do its oil change, and then we'll see. Okay. But be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you all so much for watching. These have been really fun to make, and I'm going to just kind of talk through a few of them. Talk for about 20 minutes, and then we'll end this video. We'll see if we get through all the rest of them in 20 minutes. I don't think we will, because there's just a lot of cars near the top, and they all have a lot of power. So we're hopefully going to have a few records that we get set today. We'll see, though. We'll see how it goes. Starting with the Loctite Zexel, which is one of the 3 Skylines that look almost exactly the same. Some of them have even the same number, which I find a little bit hilarious. And then it didn't place, but there's like the Loctite, there's the Pennzoil Nismo, there's the Calsonic. I think those are the 3 that are like all look exactly the same. So here's the next up one. We have the Calsonic Skyline JGTC, which stands for Japanese Gran Touring Circuit. This game is great. I really love this game, and I'm just kind of like talking off the cusp here, but I know that I normally don't usually have a long intro. I'll just go ahead and show the records real quick for what is here. So we've got a lot of Formula 1 cars, obviously, at the front. And then randomly the roof, CTR2, Jaguar, some Nismos, GT40, and then some Skylines. So a lot of Skylines and a lot of Formula 1s right now. That's the main people that are good in a 400-meter dash right now. So yeah, what we'll do is, I don't know, we'll have to see what else I can do. I know that there's some people have given me some really, really good ideas, and so I'm going to definitely, the people who commented on my videos and have given ideas, thank you so much, because they're like really, really good ideas. So eventually I will do those ideas. But yeah, so let's see. Calsonic, still good, but not as good as the Formula 1s or apparently road versions of the Skylines, which is a little bit funny. Now we're on to the FTO LM race car. This car is really unique to me because, I don't know if y'all knew this, I might actually not be using this car right now because its oil needed to be redone. So let me see if it's still, I will talk about the FTO LM race car at some point because I find it very interesting. Dang, yeah, that got a lot of power back. Okay, so where was I? Alright, I did the Calsonic. So now we're on to the Nissan 300ZX 2x2 turbo, twin turbo 2x2R, whatever it's called. I don't know what that means. I just started to check now because I've done a lot of these cars with the like the wind races, which is why I check if their oil's done or not, because then it gives an extra like 50 horsepower. I'm not saying it'll make a huge difference, but like with some cars where you know they're going to be on the top 10 list, if they also need their oil change, then they're going to be worse on the list than they should be. I really don't see the 300ZX being on this top 10 list because of its heavy start there. And I mean, the 300ZXs are great. They're actually underrated, really good cars. But yeah, they are very slow off the line. That is a very freaking terrible time, but it has a good speed, so it was high on my top 10 speed list, but it wasn't one of the ones that was on that list, but it was very close because they're good cars. So that was the twin turbo 2x2, which I don't know what that means. Is that referring to the people in the car? I don't really know. Now we're on to the Pennzoil Nismo GTR. This is the one that looks like it has more power, but for some reason every AI cannot handle driving the Pennzoil Nismo versus the other 2. So like when you do races where all 3 of them are together, the Pennzoil loses all the time because apparently they just like can't control it. I don't really know why, but because it's literally 1 year earlier, so it's like, how is it? It's not that much worse. It doesn't even seem like it's any different than the other cars, and of the like 3, they all seem exactly the same, or if not very, very, very close. But yeah, the Pennzoil's a little bit faster, apparently. I love the Pennzoil though. That thing's been around since Gran Turismo 2, so like, it's cool when they keep cars from Gran Turismo 2 all the way through. That's a thought I've had in this game that I've kind of just like always wondered. Now we're on to the Honda S2000 LM race car. why was there so many cars that were in Gran Turismo 2 that were never brought up again? Like, what's up with that? Do y'all know? Does anyone know why? If so, please tell me in the comments, because I've always wondered that. There's so many cars that are in Gran Turismo 2 that I would love to see make a return, and they've never come back. And like, I kind of doubt that they'll be back anytime soon, because if they weren't in 3, they're probably not going to be in 4. Well, wait, if they weren't in 3, that like kind of makes sense, because 3 was the bare bones like car structure wise. But like, you could have brought all those cars back in 4, like the Cultus, the Renault Esprit or Espace F1, the like TVR Chimera, and like just different versions of like engine powers. Because like there was like a Sabra in Gran Turismo 2. There was like Sabra like 2.0, 4.0, and 5.0 or something like that, you know? And I'm like, what happened to all the other versions? Like, how easy would that be just to add in a bunch of different versions of the same car, but with different powers like they are in real life? Like, how come they didn't do that in 2? Or they did that in 2 and then they didn't do it again in any other one? Like, with Skylines they do that. With Skylines they have like the GTR V-Spec and the V-Spec 2 and the V-Spec R and the N1, the Nürburgring one, the like... They have all these different versions of all the Skylines, but then they don't bring back the Cerebra 4.0 and 5.0, like 5.2 or whatever it was. And like, I know the Chimera never came back, which was the like convertible version of it. That was the Impreza, and it actually placed. I think that was the first car that's placed in this video, so that's kind of surprising. But yeah, I just don't know why they didn't bring back so many good cars that were in 2. They just like never brought them back again. I'm not sure if it's because they like actually kind of messed up the specs. I'm not really sure. It's the Castrol Supra JGTC. This car's freaking amazing. I never noticed how many decals and vinyls are all over this car. Like, they were very proud of the Castrol Supra. They put that thing in this game and it looks exactly like what it does in real life. So I'm very impressed with how awesome the Calsonic or Castrol Supra is. Because look at all those decals. There's so many decals on this car. I never even really noticed how many there are. There's so many. Goodness gracious, I can't read all those because they're low poly. But like, that's pretty crazy. Anyway, yeah, so like they had like so many cars that were in so many different games. Or sorry, there were so many different cars from so many different genres, but they were all only in Gran Turismo 2. And I just like, I never understood why that was the case. Like, why did they totally remove like so many cars? And like some of them, a lot of them they brought back. This is the Jaguar XJ220 race car. A lot of those cars they did end up bringing back into Gran Turismo 4, but there were still so many. There were so many like JGTC cars, and like there was like a Wed Sport Celica that was based on the ST205, not the like ZZ one that's in later games. And it's like, what happened to that Wed Sport Celica? Like, why is the other one not in the game? What happened to all the like crazy like the Craft BP Treno? What happened to the like other RE RX-7 that was in Gran Turismo 2? There was like a different one in 2 that they didn't bring back. Like, why did they do that? How come they didn't bring back the Denso Sard Supra from 99 and the Musion NSX, the Ray-Bray NSX, all the cars they brought back into this game in 2000? Why didn't they bring them back the 99 version as well? Like, I don't really know why they wouldn't do that. Here's the sporty black Tommykaira ZZII. See if I need to get its oil changed. We're good. But yeah, like they had all those. They had the Esprit. They had the old Viper GTS-R Team Eureka, the like white and with like the stripes of the French flag on it. Like that one was cool. There was the STP Tazen Viper JGTC, the only Viper that went in Japanese Grand Touring Circuit. You have, I'm trying to think of everything else. I said the Cultus already. There's like the Chaser. Remember the Chaser LM edition? Like, what happened to that? Why is that not in any of these games anymore? How come that we're just left with the Tom's X540 Chaser? I don't like that car very much. It's pretty bad. There's a train. there goes the train. But yeah, like you have all these like wonderful cars that are in these games, and well, no, they're not even in every other game. They only have one. Like, remember the Ford GT90? Like, what the heck? What happened to that? Where did that go? Why is the Ford GT90 like so vanished from all of like video games? Like, how come it's like impossible to get a game with that car in it? Like, I know it's like a concept, but you know, and like, remember the Camaro Z28 30th anniversary? Remember that? Like, that car was cool, you know, and like they would like, of course, with some of them they would bring back, so they would like there was the Corvette Grand Sport, there was the Corvette Stingray in the 80s, and then they eventually like, you know, updated the model and then named it a different thing. They based it on a different gear. But like, if they, why wouldn't they just keep in the old versions of the car and just keep them in the game still, and then eventually, like, if they don't like it, then remove it or whatever. But like, yeah, you have like, there's like one Corvette Stingray C3 that's in Gran Turismo 2 that is never shown again, and they replaced it with a different one. And I'm like, well, just keep the other one too. Like, keep them both. I don't really know why they did that. I think my beef is just that, like, they don't want to pad the stats too much. But then there's like 1,000 Miatas. Why are there like 1,000 Miatas, but you don't bring back the Cerebra 4.0 and the Cerebra 5.0 and 2 and whatever? Like, how come you bring back like 7 different Miata, like MX-5? How can we bring back, there's like an MX-5 Miata, like in spec and V spec, and they're all the same. They all have the exact same power. I'm like, why don't you just bring back the cars that have actual different power? Like, that, would it seem too hard? Maybe it's hard. I don't know. I'm not a video game producer and publisher and editor and coding person. I'm not saying I know what I'm talking about, but I'm just like, if the coding is the exact same, but all you do is change the power and the weight and maybe some other stuff about it depending on how the car looks, how come you don't just, you know, do that? I don't know. I don't know what would it go into making these cars and how it is, but I'm assuming it wouldn't be too hard to just change the power and change the gears, but it still looks exactly the same, and maybe change the little, like, put a 4.0 or 5, whatever the engine size is on the corner, something like that. I don't know. Well, now I'm back to using the Ford LM edition. This thing is super interesting to me because in the first Gran Turismo and the second Gran Turismo, there was the FTO LM edition. That was that like green or black version. And then in this game, there was the unique Ford FTO or Mitsubishi FTO LM race car, which was like different than the FTO LM edition. And then they never brought back the Ford why am I saying Ford? It's a Mitsubishi. I keep saying that. But the Mitsubishi FTO LM race car never makes a return ever again. They never bring it back because they replace it with the FTO Super Touring car instead of the FTO LM race car. And the FTO Super Touring car has a significant power reduction compared to the FTO LM race car. I thought that was always really interesting, and it's very rare to see a car that's only in Gran Turismo 3 and isn't in any other game. I think that might just be the only one that's only in Gran Turismo 3. I'm actually kind of curious about that now, but I'm pretty sure the FTO LM race car is the only exclusive Gran Turismo 3 race car, or just car in general, because a lot of them also show up in like Concept or 2, but like, I find that to be really interesting that the FTO LM race car is the only car that's exclusive to Gran Turismo 3. But yeah, don't quote me on that for sure, because yeah, there's like, of course there's like Formula 1s. Maybe I should not say that then. But the only race car, because Formula 1s are like a totally different thing. But now we're on to the F686S. We just did the Denso Sard. But yeah, back to what I was saying before. I miss all the cars that were in Gran Turismo 2 that never made a return later games. Some of them they made a return, but it was like the updated model. But for some reason, I don't know why they wouldn't just keep a separate model with the one that was the old version. Like with the, you know, you have the Ray Brig NSX JGTC from '99. You bring back that type of car and put it in Gran Turismo 3 and name it 2001, and then you keep it as the 2001, and it's the same car, just like updated a little bit. Why don't you just also have the 99 one in there and have it just like a little bit slower or something like that? Like, I don't know. But then also there's just the fact that there's so many cars that we're into that are just so different and that are not in any other, not in many games either. Here's the Pagani Zonda C12. I learned recently that that car was actually scheduled to be in Gran Turismo 2, so that's kind of interesting. But then they removed it. Yeah, so there's just so many good cars in Gran Turismo 2. That's why I like Gran Turismo 2 so much, because I'm like, there's so many unique cars that are only in 2. There's unique courses too in Gran Turismo 2. You remember Red Rock Valley? That thing was a great course. And then that Suzuka, or the Pike Peak downhill course, like, how cool was that? It was the only time, I think, in Gran Turismo that we've had a course that's just a straightaway, or like a sprint type race where there's no laps. I thought that was super interesting that they did that, and they like never did it again. And then it's weird though, I saw a video on Gran Turismo 5 where the Pikes Peak downhill is in Gran Turismo 5. All the textures are all messed up, obviously, because it's from Gran Turismo 1, but like, or it's from Gran Turismo 2, it's from the PlayStation 1. But you're just like, what happened? Like, why is the Pikes Peak in 5? That's really interesting. And then there was all those unique courses. There was like Indy, and there was Monaco, or or whatever it was called. There was like all these like extra courses that were in the background of what am I talking about? Of Gran Turismo 2. So there was just like so much interesting stuff that went on with 2. I feel like with 2 they were literally trying to make it the best game of all time, but it was the PlayStation 1 game. But they like did such a great job with it that I'm like, well, I respect it. I respect Gran Turismo 2 a lot. Alright, now we are on to one of my favorite cars of all time. This is the Mazda CX-7B. Such a good car, the way it sounds and drives and looks and everything. It's just such an awesome car. I hope that it's on this top 10 list because I love the CX-7B. It might be 12. Probably it's 12. Oh, okay, it's 9th. I'll take that. But yeah, no, there's just so much great stuff about Gran Turismo. The whole series is just so incredible. I love it, and I haven't really played sport, and I want to more, and I don't have the game, and I would love to get it, but I'm also like, I don't know, I really just have a lot of fun playing the older ones. I don't know if that's like the problem, but it's just so much fun to do. It's so much fun to play these games. It's so much fun to play the old school PS2 games. Because obviously, like, if you look at my channel, I have so many videos on so many old games. But I have a good time with it. I have a lot of fun with it. Now I'm using the Camaro LM race car. This car kind of sucks, honestly. It's really underrated, but... Or I mean, overrated, sorry. I don't think it's very good. It doesn't have a very good top speed, and it looks okay. I'll give it its appearance. Looks cool. The yellower lights in the front is pretty sick. But yeah, the Camaro LMX race car is one of those cars where they just made it. It's a fictional car. I don't think it's real, and it's just based on any sort of Camaro race car, so they could have more cars in this game. Alright. Now we're on to the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. This thing is so freaking heavy, but it has a lot of power, so I don't expect it to be very good in this exact moment. I just don't see it kicking butt in a 400-meter dash, but we'll see. But yeah, the Vantage. I think it said Vanquish. I meant to say Vantage. But yeah, I love all of these games. I mean, 5, I know that I've like railed on 5 on my channel a lot. I really don't like 5, but I still respect what it did, because it was the first game to like go to like insanely good graphics, like just in general, because like 5 still looks good. Like, well, 3 looks good to this day, but you're like, okay, it's a PS2 game, and there's a lot of shortcuts they did there. But I don't know, 5 is just amazing. I guess it's because of the interior view of all the cars. So we're going to end this video today with the Nissan R390 GT1 road car. Thanks for letting me just ramble for like 20 minutes. It's been fun. I'll see if this car can be on the list here, and then we're going to check the records, see who's been booted, who's still there, because you know all the Formula Ones are gonna still be there, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, this is the R390 GT1 road car. Also another amazing car. And then yeah, they had the R390 GT1 from '97, which was that awesome red and black livery, and the '97 R390 GT1 road car was also in Gran Turismo 2, and they were never to be seen again. So I'm not really sure what that's all about. So we've got lots of Formula Ones. There's the roof still there. Now we have a few new additions here with the FTO, the 787B, the ZZ2, the Impreza, and then bottom of the list, but not least, is the Castrol Supra. So, hope y'all enjoy the video. Hope y'all enjoyed me just kind of rambling about everything. Thank y'all for the support. This game is amazing. Y'all are amazing. I'm going to save it so I don't forget. And have a great day.